Hi folks, I'm going to do a little bit more of a deeper review of this Rolex Submariner no date that I picked up on Saturday. This one is going to be a wee bit more about why I bought it and some of the features and stuff like that, and go into a wee bit more depth. It was a bit of a, right here, there we are, I'll just give it a little tip up view. It's all about the watch really. There we are, nice piece. It's been a bit of a kind of a roundabout journey. About a year ago, I had the Explorer 2, the newer 216570, and I had some problems with it, and it sort of put me off buying into it for a little while. I mean, originally it's kind of weird ending up back at the sub as being the actual model that I picked, but there is some reasons and rationale behind it. So originally I was quite into the sub, and then I'd have a look in the shop, and I had a look at the sub, a look at the GMT, and some of the other models. Another one that I quite liked was the Milgauss. I quite like the fact that the dial is clean and clear of the date complication. But it is a bit of an acquired taste of Milgauss, especially if you go for something like the Z Blue, where it's like that kind of blue background, green glass, orange hand. It just doesn't really work. I found it a bit murky to look at, so I sort of went on it and then off it again. There was the issues with the Explorer 2. When I bought that, about a weekend I had some problems. I liked it, you know. I think the best feature of that Explorer 2 was the orange hand. But I sort of, that is about the best bit of it. The rest of the watch, though, on that new model, I think is a little bit compromised. I think the case is pretty much the same sort of depth at the side. If you actually, the thing that really bugged me was on that side of the watch, the opposite side of the crown, I felt like it was really thick, you know. But it obviously didn't have a purpose for being thick. It was just, you know, because it doesn't have a helium escape valve or anything like the deep sea. But it was just a really thick at that side. And it just looked, I think, too sort of blocky. That got on my wick a little bit. I found having the second hands, the GMT and the date and all of that, you know, when you looked at it under the loom, it was okay, but it was a bit complicated. You know, you had like 4 hands going round, and you know, the date complication there and that, and it just felt a bit busy. The key thing I went off, I think, with the Explorer 2 was also the proportions. I felt the proportions were a bit wrong. The hands were too big. The watch generally was too large. I mean, it wasn't on the wrist initially. I mean, 42mm wasn't too bad because I was used to wearing the pilot's watch, which I think was something like between 44 and 46. So it's quite big. So it wasn't so much just the width, but it was that depth, I think, that was really more the issue. And over long term, it'd be catching and things. I felt a bit burned. It was hard to get back into it again. I then got kind of interested in the Rolexes again with the Datejust 2. I still quite like the Datejust 2 with the silver dial and the plain bezel. But again, that date complication in that, the green loom, it just didn't fully appeal to me. I think it would have been harder to live with on a day-to-day basis, and because of the polished centre links and the sort of highly polished top, what would happen is a bit like on my old Christopher Ward here, where it takes a lot of knocks at the side, bang 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 on doors. It would have very quickly looked like the tattiest dress watch that you could possibly buy. I tried to kind of deliberately avoid Rolex for a bit. I had a look at some Omegas. The superly anti-magnetic models were quite interesting, the Aquaterra and all that. They were hard to really fall in love with. I like them a bit, but I don't love them. The Man in the Moon was the same, you know, quite like it, but to put your hand in your pocket and pay out for it, I just thought I don't love it enough. And in terms of the rest of the manufacturers, you know, I wasn't particularly into the tags. I tried to have a look at the Tudor. I found with the Tudor is that they're nice enough that on paper, you know, if you look at them on the screen, they're okay. When you look at them in the flesh, I found the case is too big, almost similar to the Rolex, but just quite large and quite sharp at the edges and very angular. And it almost looked like an unfinished Rolex. And I know some people prefer that kind of industrial look. but it was almost like a kind of a starter Hublot or an AP almost. It just didn't appeal to me enough. On these new models, quite nice. You've got the nice little green tag there. You've got the 5-year warranty, the 10-year service cycle, and I don't know how much superly duperly certified it is, but on mine I've had it about 3 or 4 days. It's behind about 6 seconds now, so it's losing just a smidge under 2 seconds a day, which is pretty much within spec, and you'd expect that in some of these models. I've read a lot of reviews on the new movements that they tend to start behind and then over the years away and they'll come forward a little bit. I'm not too bothered about that, to be honest. I was used to my C-dub 1 there running about, I think it was a bit up to 5 seconds fast sometimes and 2 seconds fast others, so I can live with that. The bracelet's comfy. You know, that extension glide lock, at first I thought, do I really need that? Could I live with the micro adjustment on the Datejust or the Explorer 2, which is handy to have, but the glide lock's fantastic. You know, I've actually found myself moving it back and forth more than a couple of positions. So the fact that you've got 5 or 6 positions there that you can adjust it with, as well as a spare link, is great. You know, I find that I had to do that quite a bit, and it's great to have that flexibility. So I like that. Sometimes if I'm at the tap running water and stuff, I don't feel like I'm trying to avoid the watch getting near the water. You know, I can just sort of use it and have the confidence to get it a little bit wet around the crown area, that and not care. You know, as long as it's clean water. If it was dirty water, I'd give it a rinse. So very nice. Loom's pretty good. I like the blue loom. I like the blue loom on that. It's the old one's got green loom in that, and I just fancied the blue. I like the symmetry without the no date, without the date being on there. The no date's quite nice. It just gives it a sort of a balanced look on the dial. So all in all, I'm pretty pleased. I think I'm probably about 3 or 4 days in, and I don't feel. Nah, it's not for me. I'll flip that and get something else. I don't feel like that, and I had a little bit of that with the Explorer 2, and I wouldn't say there was buyer's remorse, but I think sometimes living with something, and I find the size, that 40mm, and the fact the case is slightly thinner, sort of from the back to the front, it's a more usable size. You get the brushed steel. If it takes a little scratch, you know, you don't have to be too precious about it. You know, look after it, but don't feel like if it ever gets a scratch on the brush steel that it's the end of the world. Whereas with a polished one, you're a bit, you know, it would be slightly more annoying. So it's been pretty good. Nice sweeping movement on it, nice and smooth. Good action on the bezel. Actually, I like the way it clicks around. It's just nice and precise, showing that it's been engineered quite well. And underneath that trip lock crown, you got plenty of protection there for the water. So all in all, it's a good piece. So can't think of much more to say about it. It's I think the cases, what they've done with the last case had that kind of plathery fake plastic leather on it. I think they're all plastic now, so it just goes to show you, even at Rolex, they're cost cutting where they can, you know, to gouge you from a few more dimes. But certainly with Rolex, it's not about the case. It's really about the watch and getting it on the wrist. And enjoying it, really, you know. It's just fantastic. I like the security of the clasp. It's got a good secure action, and I just love that micro adjustment in there. Really nice on the glide lock. So I'll pop that on, and that's going to stay on there for a bit now, and enjoy some wear. There we go. Pretty awesome. Right. Any questions? Just bump us a note, and I'll be happy to chat away. Enjoy.